Hello, thanks for joining me. I will be showing you tonight some of my favorite sketch shortcuts and yeah, some really fun stuff in Sketch. I don't talk about Sketch very often over here on Facebook. I do a lot of Sketch stuff over on my YouTube channel, but I thought it was time to go ahead and share some of my fun things that I do in Sketch here with the Facebook groups and the audience as well. So thanks for watching. Tonight, actually, any day that you watch this, if you place the super special word sketch in the box below, if you get my drift, I'll be sending you sketch shortcuts to your messenger. So if you would like my sketch shortcuts, all it is a list of everything that you see in the sketch window just to find. And then the faster I can get you, or the more I can get you to be using the keyboard shortcuts, the more I can get you to be using your keyboard rather than clicking a mouse, you'll become faster and faster. So if you want that list, comment or put the special word down below. All right, we've got Robert. Hey, Robert. Hey, Lisa. And is it Ran? I've got Ran as well. I don't think Tito's here yet, but, and Barry. Hey, Barry. Good to see y'all. Okay, well, let's go ahead and jump in the meat and potatoes of this. I got some tacos waiting for me upstairs, so getting a little hungry here. So I'm going to just show you just a broad overview. Hopefully you can see my screen. I didn't get myself set up. I got the new Galaxy S10 5G phone, and it's great, but I forgot how much work it goes into, like resetting up everything. So if you can see my screen, let me know, and hopefully we're good. Let me just check in on you guys. Hey, Tito, you're here, Tito. Let me see if you can see my screen. It looks like kind of like a mess right now. This is my broadcast screen, but that way I know that you can see my area, because this is one of the things that usually goes wrong is when I start to share. Thank you so much, Kate Ran. I appreciate it. All right, so getting into Sketch, let's sketch some roofs. I'm going to go over the basics because I don't assume any knowledge in my training. And I found that people that have been using Xactimate for like 5 years, I'll go through something in my basics section where they're like, oh, I didn't know it could do that. So I always start in the basics, and I will keep it moving. Like I said, tacos upstairs. Got places to be. So I won't keep you too long tonight. The first thing I like to do now, I am in X1. Right, so I'm not doing this in 28. Major differences really aren't that big. You take away the blue ribbon here. I can't fully collapse it, but pretty much everything else is the same. However, in 28, there'll be these little X's right here where you can close these extraneous windows. And I highly recommend, if you're going to be sketching, to close all of these windows with those little X's. There'll be 3 windows on the left and 1 window across the bottom. However, I'm in X1, so they put this in a different area. We actually have to go to Options, and full screen is what we're going to do. Full screen there. Now, first shortcut of the night, if I want to pull those screens back up, if I want to see my search or want to see my item list down below, first shortcut of the night, Control-Shift-R, will bring those back. Control-Shift-R will bring back the windows, and then you'll just have to collapse them again if you're in 28. If you're in X1 like me, we go to Options, full screen, that takes them away. Lots of real estate for sketching. Gotta love it. Then I'm going to take you back to Tools up here in X1, so that way we have all of our tools and can do some fun things. So first thing I'm going to teach you, actually second thing, because I've already taught you, Control-Shift-R to reset your windows. Next thing I'm going to teach you is F for roof. So if you hover over the tools, Xactimate will give you each definition of what the shortcut is. So R for room, so they can't reuse R again for roof, it's F for roof. How do I remember that? The one thing you don't want to do, fall off the roof. That's how I remember F is the short case for roof. So I'm just going to type F on my keyboard. That's going to pull up the roof, and of course it's in ghost image, and it's still adhered to my cursor, which means it's not a live roof yet. I cannot do anything with this roof as far as dimensions because it's adhered to my cursor, and it needs to be placed before I can edit the specific dimensions of the roof. Before I do that, however, I need to decide what type of roof I want. What you can do, third shortcut of the night, use your space bar, and you can space through the different roof types. If you're new to Xactimate, you need to do a little bit of research. Maybe you need to set each roof type out in the window so you get acquainted with what these look like. But basically, you're looking Google Earth down at the top of the roof. Okay, so we've got the basic gable roof here. That line bisecting the roof is going to be your ridge. And then the north and south lines are going to be your roof edge, where your eaves will be existing eaves, right? And then the right and left is going to be your rake ends. Okay, so you're looking Google Earth down. If I hit my space bar again, it goes to the flat roof, which is kind of odd, I find, because not many people really use the flat roof tool. And let me make sure you can still hear me and see my screen. I got to check in every so often. Sorry, guys. Good one. Lisa says, let's talk about Sketch. How did I miss that? You're amazing, Lisa. Okay, looks like we're still good to go and everybody can see my screen. All right, so again, F fall off the roof. Shortcut for the next roof in line is to my spacebar. That's our flat roof. Third roof in is the second most common, in my opinion, is the hip roof. So that is, you're seeing just a square hip roof. Those are the hip ridges that you're seeing there as an X on that roof. So I'm actually going to go ahead and let's set I'm going to go back through to a gable. I'm not going to discuss all the roof types, just the most commonly used ones tonight. Maybe if you guys just love this video and you want to see an intermediate to advanced, we can talk about that, but I'm going to keep it pretty basic. So I'm just going to go ahead and set the basic gable roof here in the window, left click once. And now it's set, and I know it's active because it's in blue here, and you can see all of the dimensions are ready to go. So another shortcut that I love is I have a mouse with a wheel. If I hover over that roof, let me hover over the roof first, I can then mouse wheel in to zoom. Woo, get up close and personal. Or I can back out using my mouse wheel. I love my mouse wheel. I'm constantly in and out on a floor plan because whenever you're trying to work on very small areas, maybe of a floor plan for the roof plan, maybe there's a small roof extension you need to add, zooming in is so much easier than trying to work out here like this. You're going to do yourself a big disservice if you don't learn how to zoom in. And this is the easiest way I've found, is getting a mouse with a wheel. Notice that I'm not using my trackpad. I work on a laptop all the time. I do not have a desktop computer. I always work on this huge laptop. I actually get the largest screen I have that they offer. This is a pretty large screen. I don't remember. I think it's 19 or 20 inch. And that's what I work on. It's like a gaming computer, more or less, but with a large screen. So where I'm going with that is I utilize the whole screen. I don't play around. And the more that you can stop working like this and really get in there up close and personal with your sketches, you'll find this a lot easier to use. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the length. Length is going to be right to left. Width, I'm going to call north to south. Okay, so the length is going to be 35 on this one. One thing that I do like to do before I get started is to delete these little roof annotations. I can bring them back later, but they get in my way whenever I'm trying to make adjustments to the roof. Well, in X1, they've done us a nice thing. They actually, maybe that's an update. But usually these get in my way and I don't find them very useful. They now bump them to the side. Look at that. That shows you how often I use Sketch nowadays. I don't have to teach it all that often, but and I just import measurements. So that's cool. But I'm still going to go ahead and delete them off. Usually they would just like hang out and be in your way. So that may still be happening in 28. So we're going to highlight them in blue. All I did was just click on them, hit the delete key. There we go. And that will remove those annotations and just get them out of my way. They're extraneous information I don't need right now. Now you'll notice my roof is kind of off to the side. And there's a couple of different ways that we can get him centered into our window. One of my favorite is using the Michael Jackson glove. All right, so if you hit your space bar, now that I've placed the roof and it is active, the space bar becomes a different action. So if I hit my space bar, it turns into the Michael Jackson glove or the hamburger helper, whatever you prefer. And I can left click, hold, and drag my sketch palette. Notice that yes, I'm moving the roof, but I'm not actually moving the roof. If you were to move the roof, you would click on it and use this diamond here. That's moving the roof. I don't like to do that because if I have other extensions or if I have a floor plan, I can disconnect roofs. I can disconnect floor plans, and that gets really messy really fast. So second thing that you can use for your space bar is the Michael Jackson glove. And what it is it moves the pallet behind the roof rather than the roof itself. And I'll demonstrate here in a second when I add some extensions how horrible it is whenever you move the roof itself and things go, it's crazy. Okay, so now that we've got our annotations deleted, we know how to center our roof. It's the easiest, most basic way, and then how to roll in to see more of the roof. Let's learn how to redimension the roof. So we want 35 for our length, and I'm not going to use the handle. These little boxes are called handles. They are the ones that control all of your dimensions as far as length and width. I'm not going to use the handle right next to the dimension. And that's one of the most frustrating things when people first learn Sketch. Took me about 5 weeks to not click the handle next to the dimension because that would be logical. To affect the width or the length of the roof, we're going to use the handle over here. Okay, so go catty corner, think of these handles pulling in these directions. Okay, so if I want to pull out the left, I need to use that left-hand side. If I need to pull out north to south, I need to use the handles. Think of them as handles on the roof. So I'm going to left-click there, and I can left-click, hold, and drag, which is the easiest, most intuitive way to do this. Or you can use my shortcut, where I activate the handle by left-clicking. Okay, let me do this with you here. We're going to activate the handle by left-clicking. Then I'm going to click on the dimension. The dimension's in blue, means I can click on it, and I can just type it in, 35, hit enter, I'm done. When I have to left-click, hold, and drag this guy in and out, it gets real just tedious. I hate it. Even if I'm really zoomed in, you can probably dial it in pretty quickly. It's just a better practice when you're working with roof plans. And then when we get into interior plans next week, is what I'm going to be speaking about next Tuesday, the 4th. We're going to talk about interior floor plans. So again, you have to click on the roof to make the handles show. Okay, they don't become active by you clicking out in white space. That's not going to work for you. Got to click on the roof, click on the handle, click on the dimension, and type it in. So another common mistake I see people is they want to just click on the dimension. That doesn't do anything. In fact, it makes other screens pop up. So you can't just click there on the numbers. You have to highlight the roof to activate the roof, highlight the handle to activate the handle, then highlight the dimension to type it in. So it's a 3-step process. All right, so let's affect the width. The width is going to be, I think it was 17 foot 8 inches. So the width here, again, not using the handle right next to the width. We're going to use the handle. It's north or south. It was a loud motorcycle. I don't know if you guys heard that. Anyways, we're going to left click on that handle, and then I can left click on the dimension. When a dimension is in blue, it means I can highlight it and type. So 17 apostrophe 8. Okay, so I can hit the enter key. I don't have to put 17 apostrophe 8 quotation marks for the inches. I can just use the apostrophe, hit the enter key, and now we've got our roof sketched. Again, when something's in blue, it allows you to affect the dimension. So what's funny about the width is it's usually in blue when you click on the roof. It's just something that is just always active, and that's okay. I just want you to know that what the handles do, because in a room, it won't act like this. It won't just automatically have something in blue for you. Second thing, after I get the roof dimension, I immediately name it. I used to forget to name things, and I'd go over to my grouping tree in the estimate items, and I'd be totally lost. So if I had a roof plan that had maybe 4 or 5 extensions, and then I've got an exterior garage that had a couple, I would be completely lost. So I'm going to go ahead and hover over the roof name, roof 1, click on it, and now we can edit that. I'm just going to put main roof. Even that will help me distinguish, or main gable will help me distinguish from an exterior garage or shed or something like that, because you can't, right when you look at your grouping tree, you can't see exactly what you're looking at in those folders. So I like to immediately name it, which if I go over to my estimate items, you can see it immediately names it here, and I know which roof I'm going to be working on. So next, let's go ahead. Let me see if I have any questions here. Yeah, Ran, can you describe your question a little bit better? Recommendations on the preference screen. Let me know what you mean. On the preference screen, because you can actually edit dimension or edit sketch preferences. So just what specifically you're looking for in preferences. I think everybody else is good to go. Okay. So I'm going to use my space bar, my little Michael Jackson glove, and we're going to add a extension to the southern portion of the roof. This is the most difficult thing to use in Sketch. It's called the square break tool. Square break is super cool, but it can get you into trouble if you don't know what you're doing. So I've lost count of how many shortcuts I've given you. So let's say it's shortcut number 5. B for break on your keyboard. B turns our little cursor into a little crosshairs with an S in the bottom quadrant. That is your square break tool. Notice I have the break highlighted up here on my toolbar as well. So what I'm going to do is just left click once, let's say at 12. Now you want to get this exact. With your square break tool on a roof, you want to set this square break at exactly the dimensions where it breaks off roof edge to roof edge. In a room, it's different, and I'll describe that next week. But here on a roof, you want to set it exactly. So we're going to left click once to place it at 12 feet. That sets 2 new handles. Notice that I'm breaking the edge of the roof. Now I've got 2 handles I can play with. Now this is where it gets tricky with the square break and how do we want to use it. If I just set that square break and left click, hold, and drag down, notice it's extending the ridge and it's pulling that eave down with me like a porch extension or something like that. I'm going to go ahead and redimension that to 6 feet. Click on that, hit enter. We've got a 6-foot overhang. Now, next shortcut I'm going to show you, and it's very important to learn this if you're going to be roof sketching. You've got to look at your roof in 3D so you can see if it's acting correctly. So your next roof shortcut I'm going to give you is 3 on your keyboard to view the roof in 3D. I can left click, hold, and drag to spin this around. Remember, all this is being recorded on Facebook Live, and you can find it on my the replay of this, so you don't feel like you have to scribble a bunch of notes. You can find this replay on my, actually it's going to be up on the YouTube channel as well, but on my business Facebook page, you'll find the replay of this. So 3 for 3D, take us to the 3-dimensional space. Number 1 on our keyboard, like a flat piece of paper, is our first dimension, right? That's number 1 on our keyboard, takes us back to our plan view, the flat surface. So that's not what I want. I want a gable extension. I don't just want a flat roof porch coming off my main gable. So I'm going to use Control Z. My best friend in Sketch is Control Z to undo my last couple of actions. You can only use it up to 5 times, but it is something that's very useful. Control Z is undo, or Command Z if you're on a Mac. Yes, you can still use Xactimate on a Mac. For the most part, I'm going to get probably in trouble for saying that, but yeah. Anyways, you can use it with Firefox still, or dual boot on a Mac. That's going to be your Command Z, I believe, for the undo. So Control Z for PCs. Let's try that again with our square break tool. B for break, I'm going to hover exactly at 12 foot. Now, notice I can't type in dimensions here. It's just something that I have to hover. It is helpful to zoom in. You get more precise hoverability, if you will, with the zoom in. So I'm going to left click once. And now I've got my 2 handles again. Excellent. Now this time I'm going to introduce the control key. So this is a very step-by-step process. Step 1, set your square break exactly where you want it on the roof. Once you see the 2 handles, then you hit your control key. I'm going to hold down that control key the whole time that I'm going to be doing this. Notice that. Square break first, second, control key. Hold it down. Don't let go. Still holding that down, I'm going to left click, hold, and drag while still holding my control key. And I'm going to get that gable created. See how that's so completely different than the last square break I did where I pulled out that porch area? Then I can click on those dimensions, type in 6 foot, and we're going to go ahead and look at that in 3D. Completely different. You got valleys and a ridge, gable end, completely different look than that other square break I just conformed. So once you get that created, I always name it. So I would just put here sub gable. Just so I know it's a sub of the main. That's fine. And that's looking really good. And yeah, let me do that one more time just for those that maybe didn't catch it. I can either delete off, highlight just the sub gable and hit my delete key. That's a little risky. Maybe Control Z would be better here to take that off. But you don't want any gable hanging out there if you're going to delete him off. Okay, so you need a nice flat gable ready to go. Again, we've got to do that step by step. B for break. Set him at exactly 12 foot. Okay, next, hold down that Control key. Going to do that the whole time. So first square break, second Control key, third left click, hold and drag, still holding that Control key. And then feel free to go ahead and redimension. And we're going to rename the roof at that time as well. All right, now the thing you need to know about creating subroofs, why didn't I just go and grab another roof, rotate it around with my tab key and place it here? Well, let's take a look at that. All right, so I've got this second roof here. And yeah, it looks pretty much the same. Alena, why didn't you just do that? Because it makes a difference on your grouping tree. So go to our grouping tree and our estimate items here. The main gable contains that sub gable. Roof 1 is the roof that I just pulled out and added. It's not included in the squares of the main gable. So when you're adding any material to the main gable, it's not going to roll out onto roof 1 because it's not a subgroup. That's why it's important to use the square break tool. Otherwise, you'll be alienating and you'll just have a bunch of roofs hanging out everywhere on your estimate items screen. Okay, very important to know that. Now, you can go into the properties of something such as roof 1. Properties are the hand hovering over the piece of paper. And you can make it a subgroup of, but now I've spent 4 extra clicks rather than just, doing it the right way the first time. So I can make it a part of the main gable, and these actually would go away on the grouping tree. So it's important to know that the subgroup does exist in the properties. Okay, now it's all contained in the main gable, excuse me. But in Sketch, it makes such a big it's such a big time saver just to go ahead and break it off. And then also what happens is if you set your main gable with certain eave lengths or eave, depths, and then your pitch, this will also, the way that I showed you with the breaking of the sub gable, will also pull out all the same properties of your main roof. If you go and grab a new roof, it's going to reset to all the default properties. And you have to go reset those as well. And hopefully you'll remember to do that. So that's why I advocate using the subgroups or the sub roofs here by creating it using the square break tool. Also, it's faster and it's just the way the program was designed. So let me see if we have any, let's see here. Do some questions here. Ran does supplements and insurance appraisal for contractors. Make sure you're calculating waste correctly. Instead of the standard 10 or 15%, you want to use the auto waste. Is that what you're looking for, Ran? Okay, let me know if that's what you're looking for. And then Tito, with the copy and paste, so he's asking about Control C. If you go ahead and copy the subroof and paste it, I'll show you what happens here. It is not, see that part number is missing. Now this is a little tricky. So my sub gable that I created using the square break tool has the number 1 in parentheses. That means it's a part of something. Sub gable with just a 1, which is what Xactimate renamed it, is going to not be a part of it. Yes, it'll have all the same properties, but it's not a part of the main. So Control C, or copying a sub gable back onto the roof, is the same pretty much. It's going to have the properties set up as the main roof does, I believe, but it doesn't group them together in that action. So that's why I advocate using that square break tool. Otherwise, we'll have to go to the properties and make it a subgroup of main gable there. And that's what it's going to look like. All right. Ran was asking about the auto waste. So there's a way in the estimate items to go over the auto waste and add that in Xactimate. I actually did a video on that, Ran. If you'll look at my business page, Xactimate Mastery and Facebook, I talk about auto calculate versus, using the regular 10 and 15 and then adding ridge and starter. So I've actually gone over that in a previous video. I think it was at the beginning or the middle of April. If you'll go back, I spent the whole talk on Facebook Live going over that. So just wanted to make that note. So that's what you were going to do with a gable. I'm going to go ahead and highlight all. I'm going to lasso. This is the easiest way to delete everything off of a sketch if needed. Also easiest if you need to move something around. Actually, let me do that real quick. Let me demonstrate this. The reason I use the space bar with the hamburger helper or the Michael Jackson glove is so that I don't have to remember to lasso everything. So what happens if you don't know what you're doing and you just move the gable using this little diamond, you will disconnect all of your main roof from all of your subgroups. And if you have 8 or 10 of those, you get real mad real fast. That's where Control Z becomes your best friend. And just remember, hitting the space bar, you can move the palette. Now, what I'm going to do to go ahead and delete the whole roof is I'm going to left click, hold, and drag this lasso around like so, highlighting all the roofs, and I can just hit my delete key. I can't undo because I've done more than 5 actions, so I can't undo the main gable roof. That's why I had to do that. Now let's go ahead and quickly sketch a hip roof. I'm going to change the pitch here so I can show you a couple things. F for falling off the roof is our shortcut. Here I'm going to hit the space bar in order to select a new style of roof. So we're done with the gable. We're going to go ahead and just select the hip. And I'm going to left click once to place that. Now I can go ahead and affect those dimensions. I'm going to affect the length. Let's make this 35. I'm just going to click on that handle. That handle activated my length. So I can just click in that length, type 35, hit enter. For the width, I can actually just click on the roof. And we're going to do that same 17 apostrophe 8. So now that I have it, whoops, 17, excuse me, apostrophe 8, hit the enter key and it will resize. Right after I resize my roof, I go ahead and rename it. And in this one, we're going to go ahead and change the pitch. So the default pitch, I believe, is 4. So we're going to go to the properties here. We want this to be an 812 pitch. So in the hand hovering over the piece of paper, top right corner, you do have to have the roof selected, by the way. Notice the properties disappear if you don't have your roof selected. Select the roof, go to the properties. We're going to go down under slope. Now this is hidden. Notice that. I can't edit it the way it is here. I have to drop down these chevrons. I wish I could zoom into that part of the properties, but unfortunately this app doesn't let me do that. It's right there. We're going to hit that chevron and now I can affect all of the properties and change them all to 8. Sometimes you'll see a hip roof that'll have really steep sides and then maybe the ends taper out, which don't have such quite an extreme pitch. You can do that here. You can actually disconnect all pitches if needed and affect each one individually. But tonight, we just need the 812 pitch. So now that I've set that, I can hit the enter key. Actually, I can click outside. That'll close our properties. There we go. And let's go ahead and use that square break tool, this time in a different capacity. So B for break on my keyboard. Last time, I was setting it here at 12, correct? And if I held down my control key, I could pull out another hip. That's awesome. Cool. But what you want to look for here is, in this instance, we want to create a porch that extends straight out of the middle of this main hip. So what I'm going to do with my square break, B for break, I'm going to start over here at 12, 10, whatever. And I'm going to left click, hold, and drag. Before I was just clicking once and it set 1 handle. Now left click, holding, and dragging allows me to have 3 handles. See that? Before I had 1 handle. Now I'm going to have 3 handles. Left click, hold, and drag over to 10 on the right hand side. Now I have 3 handles. I'm going to hold down the control key. Left click, hold, and drag out the middle to 6 foot. And now you have this look. Totally different. Let me go ahead and show you what the square break that I was doing looks like on the back side here. Shares a slope, right? Just clicking once with the break tool shares the slope and doesn't allow me to put it in the middle. When I left click, hold, and drag with that action, it creates this type of look. So there we go. Like I said, shares the slope. That was a 1 click. This is a left click, hold, and drag option. All right. Also notice that in the properties of the sub, we've got the same pitch because I used the square break tool and I broke that off of the main where the pitch was already created. So that way, if I go and add another roof here, it would, I don't have to go set it up, right? That's what adding another roof does. It not only disconnects the roof, it doesn't have the same properties. Let me just drive that home here. So if I add a roof independently, it's not a subgroup and it reverts back to the same pitch as the default was. All right. So that is, and of course I'd rename my little guys here, but I don't want to take up your time doing that. But that's pretty much my best tips for shortcuts and everything for basic roof sketching, and that'll get you pretty far. Most roofs are pretty basic. If you need to throw on a gable, you can do that here. You can actually square break, and we could pull out another subroof. You'd go into that main roof there, or that's, I'm sorry, the subroof, and then go to its properties, and you can change the roof type back to gable. Okay, so everything is governed by the properties of the roof, and I could change that back to the gable, and it's a beautiful thing. So lots of versatility. I recommend pulling out a sketch that maybe you have the measurements for, and just trying it, because the more I can get you to practice this, the better you're going to be at sketching. So that's my name's not showing. Sorry, I got distracted. The more you can practice this, the better you're going to get at it. It's just like running supplement estimates. Your first 5 are probably your hardest. After that, you just rinse and repeat because you figured it out. You've done it before. You've been there, done that. Same with roof sketch. It's something that you need to exercise as a skill. Like you saw with me, they change things. They move things around. So it's always good to know that skill. And then also, if you're importing any roof dimensions, I highly recommend knowing Sketch, because sometimes they don't grab a remodel or an extension to the home that has been added. They can't show you that, so you would be equipped with the knowledge and skill to just bump on, a porch or whatever happened that was done in the remodel, or if they extended their home, you know how to do that. You just go and break off a new roof, pull it out, you're done. So that's that's pretty much Sketch in a nutshell. Basic roof sketching. If we ever want to do intermediate sketching, I can put on some flat roofs and break out some, what do you call those? Dormers. I have taco brain right now. It's a lot of fun. So next week, I'm going to go ahead and do basic interior sketching. We're going to add, build a little floor plan, do some L-shaped rooms, add some windows and doors. It's going to be really fun. So check out that. I'm here every Tuesday, usually. It's a little iffy lately. I've been at conferences and things, but usually I'm here every Tuesday at what time? 7 p.m. Central. So I look forward to seeing you guys. Oh yeah, Sketch in the box below. Secret word tonight. You get my list by messenger. You should get a messenger message that contains all the shortcuts I was talking about. So that way you can follow along if you want to sketch with me. Replay this video and then sketch along with those shortcuts. You got to put the secret message, secret word tonight, Sketch, and then look in your Facebook Messenger, because that's where we send the information. My name is Alena Wilson with Xactimate Mastery. If you don't know who I am, I'm usually here every Tuesday at 7 Central, by the way. All right, let me just look over the comments real quick, see if I have any more questions. Patty's here. Good to see you, Patty. And then Ran. Thanks, Rand. Yeah, just check out the previous video. I found auto calculate waste in Sketch to be short. That's been my experience, but I want you to go do the comparison on your roofs, because autocomplete or auto waste in Sketch works if you have a lot of facets. It can really be in your favor. You can also turn on or off whether the ridge is included or not, starters included or not. So check out that video. It's in the Facebook Lives. I can go pull it out after this and actually put a link in the video. So anyways, thanks, Lisa. Thanks for being here, everybody. I appreciate all of you. And I hope to see you all next week for basic interior sketch, brush up on some skills and shortcuts. And everybody have a great week in your business. Hopefully it's warming up in your part of the country. Here in Salt Lake City, it's still freezing. So hope you have a great week, and I'll check in with you next Tuesday. Take care.